welcome to another one of my videos. In today's video, this might actually be the most important video I ever put out on my channel. And it's something that I feel like I want to share. You know, it's kind of a blueprint on how I've managed to stay ahead in the game and how I make money doing what I do. And it's also something that other people can do. It's genuinely something other people can do that don't have the connections that I have and want to run a kind of portfolio of coins, whether that be gold or silver. Now, before I get into it, if you do like my content, to support me right now, you can do that by liking, commenting, and subscribing. If you do want to support me, you can do that by clicking on an ad also. It doesn't pay a lot, however, it does help towards the time I can put towards putting videos out such as this. Also, one final note. So as you can see, this is the value of my stock book. I am fully insured against fire and theft, and I run a system where I go to 4 or 5 different lockups depending on how much I've got on the books and what I'm doing on a specific day. So if anyone has any funny ideas, please don't, you'll be sorely disappointed. So let's kind of get into the video, and yeah, I hope you enjoy it. So let's break down the individual components of the spreadsheet. So this is bullion, this is gold bullion, platinum, specialty coins. So these are coins I get in that are more semi-numismatic, and they're not bullion. I tend to buy stuff in for maybe a bullion price, and I'll get it graded. Or they tend to be something that's more unique, like the Indian sov that you recently saw. So the reserve is kind of my counterweight. So there's going to be times where I need to raise money fast. The reserve is what I ping off. I don't really worry if I make a profit or not. It's the one section where if I make a loss, I make a loss, and it's okay because it's there for a reason. I've got silver currency coins. So this is like your Nazi coins or maybe your British coins. I like this section. I'll get into it in a second. You got your silver bars. I've put this as a separate thing because realistically I don't get them in often. Not enough to really put on the bullion, and also they kind of behave differently to bullion. I've got my reserve. So these are the type of coins that I will buy, and I'll just put them away. I consider them like bread. You buy them. They're not always a quick flip. They take time to mature, but when they do mature, boy, do they have returns. Like serious returns. And this is a very important part of my strategy. I've got my bullion silver. Some of the bullion silver here should kind of be in here. I wasn't sure how quickly I was going to flip it. So this is your bread and butter. So it comes in, it goes out. Again, I'm capped at 85k on the silver, and I'm unlimited here in terms of what I can sell. So let's put sales. It will make sense as I go through the video. And I've got my specialty silver. This is where I want to be at. This is kind of your niche items, your hard to find items, such as the Alice in Wonderland coins are sourced, the shipwreck stuff. This stuff does well. North Korea, this is split into North Korea and Chinese silver notes. And yeah, I've kept it separate because I don't actively sell them. I just ping them off when, well, at the moment, never. I can't be bothered with it. I need to kind of cash out, but it is what it is. I got my cash position, so this will be a positive or negative depending on the snapshot in time. At the moment, I'm currently owing 2,000, which is a relatively small amount of number compared to what it can be. I've had occasions where that's been 10. I've had occasions where it's been 12, 13, and it is what it is. It's a tool of my trade. So the credit line consists of what I have in terms of resources that come from credit cards and or my overdraft. This is very important here. Very, very important. Now you may be wondering, yeah, but Sean, if you got a reserve, why don't you pay down your credit line? It's strategic. I promise you it's strategic. It's nothing to do with paying interest. I don't really care about the interest because I'll explain later. And then this is the total. these things here. So Pokemon cards, this is the business that I kind of went into. The idea that I had, I spent about 2,000. In all honesty, oh, these are book costs as well. This is not expected cost. This is what I paid. So it could be more than 2,000. It could be slightly less. In all honesty, I stopped counting because I had a very angry girlfriend at the time who didn't want to talk about it. Stamps, this is what I have in terms of stamp stock. I have a RE, my stamp business, which we are winding down, or what I have in terms of discount postage that I use for myself. Shares, again, these are my miners. I've got a few other oilers and royalty companies. I've kept these kind of separate because I've got a different plan for these. But in terms of my investment portfolio, I'm looking at this. Again, fully insured. Don't try and take a chance with me. Not messing around. Now, let's get into the strategic side of things and how I kind of get my business running on or firing on all cylinders. You need to understand that in the coin market, there are different mechanisms concerning pricing. Now, let's talk about the things that are affected by spot. The amount of times people say to me, oh, it's spot, and I'm like, ugh, stop talking to me. You know, it's kind of funny because if I do set up an office, I'm just like, yeah, it's free under spot. No, that's all it is, you know. But in terms of the peer-to-peer market, it's simply not the case. So in terms of gold and silver, these are your bread and butter. So essentially it's coins in, coins out. You don't tend to make much. Now, I'm going to say for these two, I make 3% on gold. The reality is I'm probably on 5%, but I'm going to say 3% because the market goes up and down. And sometimes I can't get the bullion coins that I like in. I'm just going to be conservative on this one. Now, on the bullion silver, I work on 15%. Now, the reason I've done 3 boxes is because I'm going to put it underneath so it's got a visual representation. Because these are the types of things I think about. So 15%, 3%. This is what I typically expect to make. Now, you could argue, yeah, but Sean, what happens when the market goes up or down? I tend to find that, yes, the market goes up and down, but in the long run, it kind of averages out. And that's okay. In terms of platinum, I'm not going to put a percentage point on this. The reality is, I did a stock take. I'm probably at about 3,000 on this. So this is more like a specialty item for me. I don't get much of it in. The reality is I'm not going to be buying much of it in because there are people ordering from the States and they're getting it under the VAT threshold and they're kind of hammering away at it. I'm not really interested. I'm not here to grass anyone up. How individuals look after their own book is up to them. It's nothing to do with me. It's between them and the taxman. Now, let's talk about currency coins. These are quasi in the sense that I try and make 15% firstly, but it ranges. So if I'm getting currency coins in, I'm aiming for 15%. However, there's always going to be, or usually there's going to be coins in there that they are better than bullion. You know, they're more collectible, or they're rare, or there's many different determinants of the value of currency silver. Now, in some coins, you're going to make 100% plus. And that's great. My currency silver is probably at the 40% mark. And that's because I've sourced well. I'm going to leave it. You know what? Let's put it at 30. Like, I did look for it yesterday. And it was around the 40%. I'm going to put 30. I'm going to be conservative on all my numbers, by the way. So 1.3. The bars, I'm probably about 20% on them. Now, when I buy bars in, I tend to go for either the specialty bars, such as your Scottsdales, or I tend to go for your 100 gram bars because there is a pricing anomaly. I don't know why. That's just the way it is. It is what it is. So do that at 1.2. Right, this thing here is interesting. For my reserve, I just book it as this. And the reason being, it is worth more. But in my mind, it's there to be... It's not like my reserve in silver. So my reserve in gold is there to get me out of jail should I have issues. And I try and keep it around the 10% mark of what I have in assets. To me, that's kind of important. It's kind of like when you buy shares and they say you should have 10% in gold. I'm kind of doing that, but with a certain subsection of gold rather than to balance out a share portfolio. It does balance it out. Should gold price drop, okay, I'm going to take a hit in, but I'm perfectly happy to take it if it gets me out of jail. Because what you need to realize is that when I'm trading, it all kind of evens itself out over time. So if I lose on it, it's okay, because I'm in the wealth game. I'm not so much in the income game. It's there to save my bacon. Now let's talk about the reserves in the silver. I'm going to color code this one orange. I'm going to color code this one orange. And I'm going to color code this one orange. This is where the money's at. And this, but this one's kind of, it's a harder strategy because you need knowledge. Now, this is a buy and hold strategy. Buy and hold strategy. Buy and hold. That's if you're not flippers. So if you're just investors, these are buy and hold strategies. Obviously, I get it slightly cheaper, so I flip it. But these sections here, the orange sections, these are where the wealth is built. This is a knowledge play. The reserve is a time play. This is where you want to be making your money. Your special, again, it's a knowledge play. I don't expect someone can... So one of the things I do is I look at the order boards of other online dealers and I pick them apart for stock. I just pick their pocket, and I do this consistently. I don't believe that many people can do it. There are people who know how to do it, but they won't be able to mar up the knowledge of being able to think on the spot, buy something and work out the percentage. There's not many people who can do it. But this is where I make my margin. So the reserve is more like bread. And yeah. This is anchor. Safety net. The reserve is more like bread. So you buy it, you kind of put it in the oven, you let it bake, and it comes out with good margins. So you can make 100% on this if you pick wisely. Again, this is kind of a mini portfolio, and this is where your wealth is really going to develop. Again, this is a wealth builder. This is kind of plodding along. But in a reserve, I try and make 40%. I try and hold it so I can make 40%. The specialty coins, I'm trying to make 50% on. Now, you could say, Sean, but these numbers are plucked out of thin air. To which my argument is, I know what coins I have. In terms of what I have, I'm probably forward thinking, I'm probably there. Now, most people are not going to hit these numbers. I've been doing this years, and it's taken a long time to get to these numbers. And the more you do it, the more you kind of know how to increase the margin. And let's not forget, I also increased the margin by having these, but I kind of keep that separately. I will go through that in a bit. I'm not going to go through the margins on it because I don't want to give away any information to my competition. I'm sorry, it is what it is. Now, in terms of the specialty gold, this is where I'm at. This is how I really, really have good months compared to other people. So I can make 10-20% on specialty gold. I'm going to put it as 10. It will come in, it will go out. However, you're going to say that's not a big margin, Sean. However, if I'm getting in some coins such as the 20 Aztec calendar and I'm making 10% on it, it's £80. If I'm selling 3 of them, it becomes a £240 day. Now I try and make £100 a day every day. You got to bear in mind that I'll get these coins and I'll get other coins in, and before you know it, that £240 day will become a £500 day, and I've made a sixth of what my target is in one day. And that happens. That does happen. It happens probably once a month. Oh, it has been happening once a month. Now things may change, and that's okay. Let's go to North Korea. So this is a breakdown between North Korean coins, which are made of brass and aluminium. Absolutely dived. The first lot I sold for 40%. That I expect to get my money back, but not a lot. And some Chinese silver notes. I'm going to book this as normal because the silver notes will probably make money. 23. This is what I currently owe. Can't get away from that. This is what I've got in credit line. So looking from a forward perspective, my current value in coins alone, and I don't have unlimited sales, so I do have a limit. I'm probably, my stock box probably worth about 78,500 if I was to get fair value for it. And these numbers are not really picked out. This is, after going through it, that's probably slightly higher. These are conservative as well. There's a lot of pieces here where it's going to be more than 10%. There's going to be a couple of pieces where I'm probably slightly under. I think 10% where it's at. The reserve, again, is probably worth a bit more. I think these are genuinely fair in terms of what I'm making. But these take time. You know, the bars, these are as and when. You know, I don't really get them in. But these are all kind of different strategies. So you need to know your stuff. The reserve, it takes time. Again, the buy and hold for the bullion if you're not a trader. For me as a trader, it's bread and butter. So, but either way, it's bread and butter whatever way you look at it, because that's the stuff you need to kind of counter your portfolio. But the money is in the specialty and the reserve. Now, let's talk about strategy. I know that if I'm trading just this, just your gold and just your silver, I'm not going to cut it. So let's kind of work it out. 85,000, which is my limit. You got to divide that by 12. It doesn't work out that way because some months you'll do more and some months you'll do less. But overall, say you play the perfect game. Your profit on 85 on 15% is this. It's 1,000 and what, £60. So let's work that out minus this one. That is not a great position to be in. So when I look at other suppliers who are selling silver, I'm looking at them thinking, it's not the market I want to be in, for sure. It really isn't. I need to make a minimum of, say, £15,000 a year just to keep the machine purring, let alone firing on all cylinders. And it's a case of it's just not a chance. So I get this in, yeah, I make money, but however, I want to be in this section here, and I want to be in this section here because there's upside here, and there's lots of upside here, downside here, because it's fully relatable to spot price, and it will go up and down. There's going to be times where you do slightly better, but it's not the section I want to be in. With gold, I don't really have a limit, so I don't mind doing it. I just don't mind doing it. So if I get coins in and I know they're coins in, coins out, let's say I move 200,000 in, and that's a perfectly valid number. Honestly, it really is. So 6,000. That's 7,000 just in bullion. You may be looking at it and thinking, Sean, you're crazy. You're crazy. You're to make £7,000, you've got to burn through a lot of stock. Yeah, you do. But this is where you make it. It's the specialty stuff. This is where you really make the money. And I do make a fair amount of money. So let's say for specialty gold, I'm doing 100,000. 1.1. I know what that is, 10,000. And you're thinking, well, actually, Sean, when you put it like that, you're doing okay. You know, you've hit your 15,000 bare minimum. That's what, £17,000, and you're doing a turnover of just under 400,000, which in the world of gold, it's not actually that much. But where you're really going to benefit is by, if you don't have the limitations like I do. For me, it's all about selling. It's getting this stuff in, and it's transferring it to this stuff. I don't really care if it's bullion or specialty. I just care that I can make the margin. So you move silver over, you make the high margins here, you put it into gold, and then you either flip the gold quickly or you trade it back into silver. Now the trade works because you make money on both ends of it. That's where it's at. I want to be more in this section, in essentially the orange sections. That's where I want to be, because that's where the real juice is, and that's where you're really going to make your money. Now the truth is, I've made more money than this, or I've made more in terms of wealth than this over the last 6 months. There are other factors. I did get some government help. I have had some income elsewhere. If I was to take that away, okay, I'm probably maybe there or thereabouts. And I did it on less turnover. So you can only figure out that I've done more on the specialty stuff. And these are kind of conservative anyway. So let's kind of go to this section. Wow, we're at 22 minutes. Jesus. Let's go to this section. So I wanted to add a bit of diversification. I'm not sure if it is 2,000. It's either slightly under or slightly over. I did a book count. It's probably worth about 2,500, I think. The stamps I'm not going to divulge because, again, it's competitive advantage. The shares are probably around 16,000 at the moment. That's okay. They will have their time to shine. So we do this plus this. That's not what I wanted. Sum that. So in terms of my actual wealth, I'm probably sitting around the 100k mark. Now you might be saying, "Oh, but that's a massive flex," and Sean, like, you know, for me, it's not so important because this is built on a house of cards. I owe a lot of money, and this is where the reserve comes in handy for me. So there's a reason I have this. There's a big reason I have this, and there's a big reason why I try and keep it around the 10% mark. I'm burning through £1,000 a month minimum on debt repayment. I try and give myself 500. Not 500, sorry, 250. So overall, that's 1250. Times that by 12. So I need to make £15,000, or I need to take £15,000 out of the system. The great thing about this is, being a business, I pay tax on what I take out of the system. Anything else I reinvest, I don't pay tax on. So the reality is, I'm probably going to be doing around the £35,000 to £40,000 mark in terms of profit. In terms of what I got in stock, there's enough, even with Brexit, there's enough to kind of tick me over to that. But I'm only going to be paying tax on this, which minimises it. What this means is, I did the numbers, it's about £800. Let's round it up to £1,000. So my tax is going to be this. My tax plus my outgoings is going to be this. I want enough in reserve that should I fall below, so let's say for argument's sake that I have a really, really bad 2021 and my income drops to £1,000 a month. Times 12. That's my income. I need 16,000. So 4k is going to come from here. My reserve then goes down to 5. It still puts me on 95k. All things being equal. Now, I think this video has kind of gone on long enough. I didn't expect it to be this long. I kind of hope that you've taken a lot from this. You need to understand that there's a fundamental difference between the asset classes that you, or the sub asset classes that you buy within coins, gold and silver, and also platinum. You also need to understand that there's different skill sets going on in terms of the knowledge you need and how you need to sell it. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've benefited from it. And again, if you want to rob me, then you don't, because it's you're not going to get anything, because it's insured and it's just not here. So I hope you have a good one. Take care. Bye.